Welcome to Brilliantly British. My name is Lawrence and today I'm going to show you how to make the ultimate beef casserole. So as I show you how, please sit back, relax with a cup of tea in hand, putting those feet up too, and enjoy this episode. And don't forget to subscribe. A moment's glance at this channel's content should reveal that the people of the British Isles are quite partial to a bit of beef. And with these hearty meals having featured on the channel, we've taken it upon ourselves to develop and share our recipe for another beloved British dish. This, my dear friends, is a delicious beef casserole, a piping hot, rich, multifaceted dish that you'll be learning how to prepare step by step, followed by a session of tasting at the end. So now, with the introductions made and your interest piquing, please allow me to introduce the ingredients to you. For today's Brilliantly British beef casserole, you will need some mushrooms, some gherkins, some tomato paste, some suet, some carrots, celery, beer, celeriac, plain white flour, whole milk, onions, horseradish, Marmite, parsley, and of course some beef, followed by the addition of salt and pepper to avoid the occurrence of bland food. And that, my friends, is all you will need for today's Brilliantly British beef casserole. But before you get started, before you do anything at all, please switch on your kettle, brew yourself a nice cup of hot tea so that you can sip on that whilst you cook. To begin preparing a rich beef casserole, start by heating up your casserole pot or pan with oil over a high heat before turning your attention to your beef medallions, which should be liberally seasoned with salt on all sides. Then, with your oil just beginning to smoke, proceed by searing your meat in manageable portions so as not to overload your pan in order to obtain a good sear. After having seared all of your meat with it set aside, turn in onion, carrots and celery with a splash of beer to deglaze as you stir, which you'll want to season with a pinch of salt before allowing to simmer over a medium heat under a lid. 15 or so minutes later, with the vegetables cooked and little liquid remaining, transfer the contents to a blender to form a rich, smooth base for the casserole right before beginning to preheat your oven. With the base set to one side, in the same pot with an additional drizzle of oil over a medium heat, continue by cooking tomato paste and Marmite, incorporating flour once the contents begin to bubble. With a tomato Marmite paste formed, gradually stir in beer until silky smooth and lump-free, followed by chopped gherkins and the blended vegetable base from not too long ago, with some additional water, freshly ground pepper, and a bit more salt. With the sauce base ready, layer your ingredients by forming a bottom layer of beef, followed by small peeled whole onions with the roots removed, and whole mushrooms, which should be covered and braised thereafter. Following the first braise, uncover and drop in coarsely chopped celeriac and carrots before returning to your oven under a lid to braise onwards. In the meantime, whilst you wait, into a bowl with your fingertips, mix together flour, baking powder, salt and suet until sand-like in consistency, a step which should precede the addition of parsley and a freshly ground pepper before incrementally combining with milk to form your dumpling dough, which should be divided into small balls, taking into consideration that they'll double in size once cooked. After a second stint of braising, drop in your dough balls, allowing them space apart to expand before covering with a lid and baking whilst covered initially. While the casserole cooks further, taking a peeled and chopped stick of horseradish, after turning it into a blender with a dash of water, I'll begin to blend the radish, adding water if absolutely necessary, while stopping to scrape down the sides in order to form a pungent horseradish sauce, which was seasoned to taste once ready. After being baked under a lid, your dumplings will have swelled, having begun to absorb some of the sauce, at which point you'll want to finish them by baking the casserole uncovered to give them a textured golden brown crust, something akin to the bubbling pot on screen now. So, now, with a fresh beef casserole made and your interest peaking, I think it's high time for tasting, tasting, tasting. Are you ready? Are you steady? 3, 2, 1. The beef is fantastic. Period. The onion is perfect. Somehow, after hours and hours of stewing away, braising in this pot, it's not overly soft. It's perfect. Still got a bite to it. It's lovely and sweet now. But let me just turn my attention once more to the beef. It is melt in the mouth, tender, and it has absorbed all of the flavors that have been infused into this pot. Of course, we've got the Marmite. You've got the beer as well. That has become lovely and sweet and well-rounded. It's such a full-bodied dish now. Oh, and the other elements, let me actually attend to them. Mushrooms, perfect. Celeriac, wonderful and fragrant. And the carrot too still has a bite to it. Nothing has disintegrated or been lost. And lastly, I insist, now the dumpling. All I can describe the dumplings as, the only way I can describe the dumplings is to say that they are lovely, spongy clouds that have absorbed all of the wonderful flavors in this pot. They are a bit peppery. They melt on contact with the tongue. Everything here is perfect. And I don't know what else to say. The horseradish with beef, that in the UK is an unwritten rule. It is a must. So look, with all of that being said, my dear friends, my dear viewers, take the time to get the ingredients to make this dish. A lot of the time spent making it is passive after all, and as you can see, it's worth it. So please, please, please make this dish, please. Thank you all for allowing me to show you how to make the ultimate beef casserole. Knowing that you loved this episode, don't forget to click on the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification button so that you don't miss any of our new releases. Tell everyone you know, and I mean everyone that you know, about the brilliantly British food on this channel, and follow us on all of the social media platforms that this channel is on, and I will see you